Okay, so DevOps means it's a combination of two teams. All right, don't think that it is some sort of rocket science or anything. DevOps means it is a culture where two different teams are forced to work together in order to get a higher productivity. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so if I go here, I will elaborate it more. Yeah, this one. Okay. So before the evolution of DevOps or before the birth of DevOps, the two different teams, that is developers and operations teams. So operation teams, Andre Yaru, who are they? So their job was to get the application from the developers, and their job only to put it in the production servers, or before production server there will be test servers also. Okay, now if I try to draw a diagram, so now what developer will do, now these are bunch of say developers. Okay, there can be one or many developers, right? So what their job is to just work on the programs or software. So they will basically everything is code. It can be one page, two page, or hundreds of pages, or thousands of lines. It really doesn't matter, but there will be a team of developers. So what their job is? So developers. So their job is to write code so that they can build an application. So application can be anything. Now even this whiteboard is also an application. So wherein I am an end user because I need whiteboard to teach students, right? So same way there are hundred and millions of application, and for that you need, and in the backend everything is a code. So in the initial days, this developer used to write code and they will package it. So once the code is ready, so they are going to test it in their own environment and they are going to package it. Like we package goods or any items so that it can be transported to one place to another. So same way they used to package it in a jar file or a war file. See, these are application specific files. It can be anything. It can be a simple HTML file also. Okay. So they used to package it and they used to give it to the who operations team. Now the until here their job is done. Okay. Now once the operation receives these files, their job is to, there will be a server. So say 1, 2, 3 and 4. So what are the servers? So one was test, dev, UAT, production. So production is the server where the actual application is being exposed to the internet. So why they used to do like this? Because once the developer handed over the code and they say they have done the testing, everything is fine. Okay. And before this, there will be one more people. They are testers. So I am testers, I am marking in, wait. So this testing people, I will mark it in green. So these are testing team. Okay, so they used to test. Okay, so their job was to test the code, and then before it goes to the packaging. So these are, who are they? They are testers. Okay, so their job is also done, first stage, and this is the second stage, and third stage will come to the deployment. So this is the operations teams, or where we do the deployments, right? Now, so before deployment, so they wanted to deploy it in the test machine. Then once done, then they will deploy it in the dev machine, and then they will deploy in the UAT machine. Okay, and then they will observe for 1 or 2 weeks, and then once everything is fine, they will deploy it to the production environment. So you're getting the idea, basic idea. So all these three teams used to perform independently, one after the other. Okay, now this is a short story I have told you. ಇದು ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಕಥೆ ಅನ್ಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಬಟ್ ಏನಾಗ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಡೆವಲಪರ್ಸ್ ಕೋಡ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಷಣ the tester's job was to detect a bug. So what do you mean by bug? Bug is any defect in the code, isn't it? So suppose ಒಂದು ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಬಗ್. ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ನಾನೀಗ ಈ ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನನಗೆ ಆ ಡ್ರಾ ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಬರಬೇಕು. ಅದು ನಾನು ಪೆನ್ಸಿಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಬೇರೆ ಏನೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್, ರೈಟ್? ಈಗ ನಾನು ಎರೇಸರ್ ತಗೊಂಡೆ, ಎರೇಸರ್ ಕೀ ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ, ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅ ಮಿನಿಟ್, ಸ್ಲೋ. Okay, fine. Close this also. Right. So once the developer were done with the coding, what they used to do, they used to send it to the testing team for testing. Now this team, what they used to do, they used to check the code using some tools, and they used to revert back. Okay, now they will revert back saying that there is some bug in the code, please revert it. So they used to send back to the developers. Again they will fix the bugs, and they will again send it back to the testing team again. So these to and fro used to happen for several weeks, and then finally when both they have agreed, they will release it as a package like this. So let me highlight it in yellow so that you understand. So package, and then finally they will send it to the deployment. Now once it is ready for deployment, because they have tested in their own environment, these people have tested in their own environment, correct? Or in cut short, I would say their own laptop or desktop. But when finally comes to the deployment, some issues used to happen. Some, when they deploy the code in the server, some issue they used to experience. So again they will send back. So what's happening here? See, ಏನಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, time consuming. This is very, very, very time consuming, and these things are not happening in a continuous manner. So what they did was they break the barrier. So let me take an eraser and erupt this. Now this was the barrier, right? So this was they removed this barrier and they made these people uh, okay. I'll some other color. Wait, let me put it in pink. Okay, so they made these people to work with these people. So that is why it came to the concept DevOps, where every day they will be doing some changes and they are pushing the code to the centralized repository. Okay, so now I will show it in a draw.io. So then you will understand. Now come back here. These are not required. Okay, so now let me draw people. So these are developers and operations team. As these are developers. Okay. Now earlier, as I told, there was a barrier like this because they were not interacting with one another. But now this barrier is broken. So what they do is, in order to make this process like developing, then testing, then packaging, then deploying, all this they have made it continuous. So that is what you will find a symbol. So that is why we always see the DevOps symbol as infinite symbol. Now this is a, see, this is by infinity. If you see here, that is why the symbol is infinite. That is a loop actually. It is keep on happening. See here, the developer and operations team, what they do is developer team code, build, test, release, deploy, operate and monitor and then plan. Again code. So these things are happening again and again. This is the life cycle of DevOps and every day it requires some changes because the end users, see who are all end users, people like you and me, we need some extra additional features. So for this reason we require a lot of changes. So in this competition, competitive business, so we need to be very fast and developing our application. So now that is the reason. So developers will push the code to a what? So we have something called as Git or GitHub, where they will push the, or else I will say, code is stored here. Okay, code is stored here. Then from here, what will happen? It is what? Then it is built and tested. So we use tools like Maven with Selenium, or sometimes SonarQube. So these are basically tools actually, right? So GitHub, and we also use Jenkins. So after this, in order to automatically fetch the code from the GitHub. So once the developer pushes the code to the GitHub, and then it should automatically pull. So all these are done by Jenkins, right? So let me here. So let's say I will put this symbol, okay? Or let me put the, wait. Just a minute. Yeah, this is better. Mm, 1 minute. Ah, okay. So Jenkins, what it will do? It will get all the code from the source code. So source code basically is what an application is made up of, right? So now these are the developers, right? And they will push the code, so the Jenkins will trigger it. So I will also put here, or else let me remove it. Second. Yeah. So basically what Jenkins will do, like a server at the hotel, it will receive our things, right? So this will have a link to the this one and also to this one here. And what Jenkins is doing, you can refer the above diagram. Okay. So basically it will, whenever the developer is making the changes and committing the change, I will show you in a couple of minutes what you mean by commit and what you mean by GitHub. Okay. So the Jenkins will automatically get that code and it will build. See, I told, right, jar file or war file. See, jar file means basically it's a Java archive where all the source codes are packaged into a single jar file. Okay. So this will be tested using the SonarQube or Selenium and built using the Maven, right? And then after this, the code goes to the next step. Once it is tested, it will go to what? The Jenkins will build. Then it will package in an artifactory. So it will package in an artifactory like JFrog, right? So you need to store this jar file, right, in securely. So you can store it in a JFrog or Nexus. So these are some of the repository. Repository is where you store your packages. So once you store, you are ready to be deployed. So deployment using various tools we can do. We can use by Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. So mainly at a very high level, these are the various steps it will perform. And this task is carried out by this guy who operation team. So this process will continuously will be keep on happening within the organization. ಈ cycle ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. And main thing, that is why many people learn Jenkins. So Jenkins ಒಂದೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, there are other CI/CD tools. Okay, so ಈ process ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? CI/CD, that is continuous integration. ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ whatever you see, it is a continuous integration, and ಈ last step ಬಂದು deployment, continuous deployment. So this is called as what? ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, you may be asked about CI/CD. Right? So CI/CD then beda. Okay. So CI/CD is what you see in the above diagram. Entire process is CI/CD, continuous. So everything is happening continuously. I hope until here is clear to you guys. Any doubts you can ask me now.